What's up YouTube, Josh here, and today we're talking about how much should a software developer make? Are they overpaid? Well, let's just jump straight into it. So this is what I've seen so far in my career and when I've been applying to jobs. So generally I would say it's about $50,000 to $65,000 for junior level developers. You know, it could be a little more, it could be a little less. That's about 0 to 2 years of experience, and I would say 2 to 5 years of experience is mid-level, and I'd say that's 65 to 85,000, and then 85,000 plus is senior level, which is, I don't know, I would say 6+ years, 5-6 years. So there are a few key factors here that play a part in how much you make. So the first one is contract. Contract is usually an hourly rate. It's higher than a salary would be. This is because of two main reasons, and a third reason if you're in the US. One is because you're taxed a lot more if you're self-employed. You have to manage that yourself. And another is job security. You might not have a job in 6 months. And if you're in the United States, the third reason is you don't have access to unemployment, and you can kind of use this to negotiate a higher hourly rate. So this is common in freelance, you know, just because of the nature of the work, and you just might not have a job. I was contract for 1 month at one of my jobs before they brought me on to full-time salaried, and my hourly rate came out to be $13,000 more per year than what I was making at salary. I was at $65,000 in salary, but the contract rate was $37.40, which is almost $78,000 a year. So quite the difference there. But they did give me my check in full, and I had to cut off 40% of that just to pay taxes. So the second thing that influences developer pay is office location. So let's take San Francisco, for example, very high cost of living, and let's take Atlanta with a pretty cheap cost of living. If you take a look at some boot camps in San Francisco, some of them promise 6 figures, but the cost of living basically nullifies 6 figures. It's a cool, like, yeah, I make 6 figures. It's a cool bragging right, but in San Francisco, the median housing price is $1 million, where in Georgia, it's $266,000. So $100,000 in San Francisco is about $56,000 in Atlanta, Georgia. So it's cool bragging right, you can say it, but it's actually closer to what I've seen in terms of a junior developer salary. So location makes all the difference. And a third thing that I've seen affect pay is the perks of the job. Are you working at a startup? Are you working remotely? Remote jobs, from what I've seen, are generally lower paid, and that's just how it is. It's quite the trade-off. Like, they don't have to pay, they don't have to give you an increase because there's no commute for you. There's no office cost for them to host you and have to deal with that, and they can kind of negotiate that with you. Another example of this is startups. Startups may not provide you with as much money, but they're willing to provide a more fun work environment, beer Fridays, or bring your dog to work, or like work on the couch and play Xbox or something, you know, give you Nerf guns to shoot at each other. But then again, you might not have a job in 3 months or next week, or if the investors say, hey, yeah, we're not giving you any money. But they're a lot more flexible with you. If you want flex time, they'll probably be more flexible just because it's a smaller company, and also might not be flexible with you depending on if they're trying to get something out of the door because they can't get more money. So you just kind of have to be careful with that. If you want the most optimal pay, you want the biggest take home, I would go with contract. You can manage your own taxes and you can write off business expenses. You could probably come off a little bit better than you could as a salaried employee, but there's that trade-off of you have to provide your own healthcare here. There's no access to unemployment because you're choosing to take contract jobs that you know will end, so therefore you can't go get unemployment. So there's that trade-off with contract. And I would say to get the most secure pay, the most stable income, obviously just working at a company, just a salaried normal developer job. You know, for the best work-life balance, depending on what you define that as, is probably startups or working remote. So if money's not that important to you and you're willing to take less money to work at home, then you know that's what you would go for. So as I was doing a little research to make this video, doing a little digging, I decided I wanted to talk about how software development compares to other industries. So going to school to become a software developer, if you choose to do so, if you go to a boot camp, that'll run you maybe $12,000 to $15,000. If you go to college, that'll run you maybe $38,000 to $55,000. That's a lot of debt. And the starting salary for that is also about $50,000, but the median is $100,000. Let's look at mechanical engineering. Mechanical engineering costs about $38,000 to $60,000 to go to school here in the United States to get that degree. Starting salary is about $61,000, and the median is about $83,590. So the median is the top of that bell curve That's not the lowest, it's not the highest. So you could make more, you could make less, but the median is usually established over someone's career lifetime, maybe 10 years. So now let's take a look at a business analyst, someone who went to business school. Costs about $40,000 in the United States to get a degree for that. Starting salary for a business analyst is $65,000, and the median is about $81,000. So, I wanted to take a more kind of blue-collar job, so construction is about $21,000 to $62,000, but again, no real schooling required for that. So there's your trade-off there. Let's look at accounting. Accounting costs about $40,000 to get that degree in the United States, and the average starting is $53,000, and the median for that is $68,000. So not a whole lot of growth over the lifetime of that profession. So now let's take a look at lawyers. Lawyers cost about $123,000 to get the degree, and the starting salary can range from $50,000 to $70,000, and the median is $160,000. So now let's take a look at one of the obviously most high-paying professions in the United States, which would be doctors. So the cost to go to med school is about $210,000, and the starting salary can range from $140,000 to $175,000 for family medicine, and for radiologists, I just threw that in there, the median salary is about $315,000. So on average, software developers are paid the low end at first, the lower end of all of those degrees besides construction, because you had to go to school for that, but higher than most professions at the median. At the upper levels, there's a lot of room for growth. You could be a CTO, you could be a CEO. It doesn't necessarily mean you can't run a business if you have a computer science degree, or that you're only going to do tech stuff. You could be some sort of management, something like that. And there isn't necessarily any schooling required to do software development. You can go to a boot camp, you can get a computer science degree, you could get a mechanical engineering degree and then go to boot camp and then do what I do software now, or you could just be self-taught and like Katie was in my other interview and just do it that way. So the trade-off for that is pretty good in my opinion. I try to be transparent about money, salary. I don't really like it when like companies try to hide what they make. Like, I get it could offend people because some people get paid less for the same job, but you want to get paid more, just be worth more, be more valuable. That's simple. Don't get offended. If you want more, you have to be more. And that's just how it is. So I'll tell you a little bit about how my process has gone. I started at $18 an hour working part-time as a software developer. Then I moved to $50,000 as a full-time software developer. And then I moved to $65,000 as a full-time software developer. And then I moved to $75,000 as a software developer. And if I include, I don't know, my second job teaching, I'm probably just over 6 figures. And I've been doing this almost 3 years now. So I think that's a pretty decent trade. When I first graduated college, I started out at $67,000, and if I had stayed at that job working as a mechanical engineer, my salary, I've estimated it to be maybe close to $80,000. And I would have almost no opportunity to do some other sort of side teaching job that I do now. There's just a lot of opportunity in software development, and it's a good place to be right now. The junior area is a little bit saturated with the explosion of boot camps, but that doesn't mean you can't do it. It was saturated when I went there, and everyone in my class was applying to the same jobs as me, and that was a little bit frustrating, especially when this is the top of the class, and then this is where you're at. It can be a little bit depressing, but here I am somehow, pushed through it, and if I can do this, you can do this. I think it's worth it. Anyways guys, if you like this video, hit that little subscribe button. We have a Discord community. We're always hanging out, trying to improve. Link is down in the description, so check that out. And I'll see you guys in the next video.